Hero Collectors here. How's it going, everybody? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. I know I am, and once again, it's time to update the display. And today we're going to be updating the Spider-Man related shelves. So let's take a look at the figures being added. So, in terms of new figures being added to each shelf, we have Miles Morales Spider-Man, Spider-Boy, and Spider-Man Unlimited being added to my Spider-Man and Spider-Verse shelf. And then Chameleon, Francine, Fry Electro, and Kane added to my villains. But the problem is that I also have other figures to add that aren't newer. So, in addition to those three villains, I also have Doc Ock, Shocker, Kraven, and Scorpion, who I did remove from the display to take photos for Maximum Spidey. So, these guys will be needing to be brought back into the display. So, what we'll do is we'll start with the Spider-Man shelf, and then we'll go to the villains, because I'm probably going to have to just remove everybody and kind of redo that whole display in a way. I might not take everybody off, but it'll need some adjustment. So, without further ado, let's get into it with these guys. All right, taking a look at the Spider-Man shelf, I want to take this couple minutes that I have while I'm updating the shelf here to discuss updating figures. And I think this shelf is the one that needs the most updates in terms of better body molds. Like, just starting over on the left-hand side, the Spider-Verse side of the shelf, Spider-Punk, House of M Spider-Man, 2099, the Spider-Woman of the Old Man Logan universe, those all are on outdated bodies that I think need to be updated severely. And it just seems to be a common thing with Spider-Man figures, from what I've noticed, is that we get so many innovations in body molds, and then they just have not gone back to update them all. And I think Spider-Punk is fine for right now. The House of M Spidey, I guess I don't need super soon, but like a lot of especially the females in 2099 need serious updates. Like 2099, I have the white suit that's on the Sunfire body mold. But the blue suit here that you can see, this is the retro card one. This only came out a few years ago, and it's still on the Pizza Spidey mold. That is not right. It needs to be on the Sunfire mold, or even now the Renew Your Vows mold. Hell, I'd even take it on the new Maximum body mold. So, like, give us an update to 2099, please. But even he's not like the one that needs it the most. Most of the Spider-Woman and Spider-Girls, I think, need it. Like, at this point, I'm posing up the Mayday Spider-Woman or Spider-Girl. That figure is awful. Like, I have such a hard time getting her to stand. On the other side is, I believe, Aranya, and in a minute I'll be setting up Spider-Gwen. And yeah, they all are on the same base body, and they do not stand. They did not come with many hands for swapping. Just overall, just terrible releases. And, looking back on them, I don't know what Hasbro was thinking. Of course, some of these were the early days of Hasbro, so you're not the early days, but like before recently, when we've really kind of, I don't know, been getting some real class figures from Hasbro. I think they need to go back and redo a lot of these, especially on the Spider-Man shelf. Even looking at the Peter Parker section, the big time suit, the all new, all different suit, those need updates. Do they need to be updated right away? I think all new, all different should. Okay, so since you guys can see most of it at this angle, I mainly was just adding Miles, Spider-Boy, and Unlimited here, but there were a few figures that I noticed just need a little bit of dusting. There might be another one or two, so I might do that later, but yeah, it's not ideal, I don't think. There's several figures here that I wish were updated, so yeah, I'm just working with what I got. And if you weren't aware of, like, the last time when I updated this, what I did is I had Multiverse Spideys on this side and had them come across the front into the 616. So Miles and Gwen have joined the 616 recently, so they're right in the middle, and then the rest are 616 Spideys over here. and then all of this is Peter Parker related. So yeah, this is probably going to change up a little bit more once I get Maximo Spidey in here. But as of right now, well, and Spirit Spider and the Hellfire Gala Spidey, but those, those aren't ready yet. So, well, I don't even have Hellfire Gala. Nobody does, but it'll change later this year still. And yeah, I think I'm okay with this one for now. I might dust a figure or two later, but as of right now, I will move on to the villain shelf. Okay, and here we are at the villain shelf as I am removing things, and I do apologize because I did get cut off in the previous recording, trying to sort things out with this new uh, video editor, and in fact, I have a new phone, so I'm trying to figure out all the things, and yes, I do edit these videos on my phone, so it's a bit of a learning process. I think I said in the last shelf update video there wouldn't be any problems with recording like this, but here we are, still learning, still trying to figure things out, and yeah. So let's talk about the actual figures, all right? Now I'll go into a little bit of this at the end once I've got everything kind of sorted, but this shelf, it needs some serious changes, and while, yes, I think I have most of the characters that I would want for this shelf in most of the figures that I think are at their ideal figure, like they won't need an update, if that makes any sense. Like there's a few for sure that could go for an update or whatnot. But despite having so many good figures, I can never seem to get the shelf to my ideal standard, if that's the word. Oh, shout out to my fellow Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon fans, because I had to put Sandman and Rhino together just because I love that duo in the show. But yeah, this shelf, it's always a challenge to really find that balance that I want. The different sizes of characters, trying not to block other people while still showing powers. It's very difficult to do. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not always satisfied with how it turns out. With how it turns out in the end. But I think I got it to a decent point in this video. It's just, I don't know. I always struggle with this shelf, and I don't know how to fix it other than, adding in risers, adding in more stands. But even then, it's going to be harder to really balance some of the figures then. But I don't know. I really don't know. And maybe it requires a larger shelf and more, like I said, risers and stands. Maybe it's just I'm limited with the space I have right now, so I just can't get to my ideal shelf. But I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. We're getting into a bit more figures in here. I think it kind of really picks up here in a bit when I start getting things in. And sorry, I was cleaning off a few figures. They were dusty. It happens from time to time, but we're still getting things sorted. Let's see, and yeah, I've got somebody off screen that I was dusting, but it was Beetle. Getting things sorted. I do really like that Beetle figure. I like the colors on him. We got Hobgoblin, build a figure. I definitely want to have him flying eventually in a kind of more idealized display, and have the normal Hobgoblin on a glider, and Jack-o'-lantern on his glider, and it's just I don't have room and enough stands to really do it. I got the Scorpion in there. Who am I messing with? Mysterio, yeah. Had to have him on a stand. I do like having him kind of floating there. I should probably put more magic effects on him. Love that Venom figure. That Venom figure is dope, and probably my favorite comic Venom figure I have. It's the 85th anniversary one. And down there, we got the Carnage family. Just need Carrion. Need to reread Maximum Carnage. That's going to be my goal for next year, is to read a good chunk of classic Spider-Man from the beginning to Ideally the 90s, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I'm going to read only Amazing Spider-Man or if I'm going to add in, the other titles like Web of and whatnot, but would definitely love to get caught up or more caught up on Spider-Man knowledge. As you can see, we add the retro carded lizard. I do have the Build-A-Figure lizard. Don't really have a place for him. Uh, Currently, I need to figure out something potentially. And to add more Lun over there by, as some other more extreme villains like Kane and Venom. Fun fact about that Shocker figure, he is actually mismolded on the arms. It was kind of early days pinless tech, and my copy just has some messed up elbow joints. So it's just a little Easter egg for my collection in that figure. Got Chameleon there. Glad to finally have a Chameleon figure in the collection. That is fantastic to have. And yeah, I think we're getting close to winding down. I think it's just Morbius and the Vulture figure. So I'm going to hopefully not get cut off with this audio. Still trying to figure out how it works. But yeah, adding in that Vulture to the display. And I think that's just about it. Okay, I'm just going to keep it at the same angle like last time. This is a crowded shelf, not going to lie. I don't love how I have it. I like it better than I did have it, but yeah, this may need a set of risers at some point. I'm not loving how this is going together. There are a lot of big characters, a lot of characters that are the same height, and like characters like Dr. Octopus, who just takes up a lot of room. I tried to actually have him with all 4 arms this time. Actually, let's adjust the one real quick. But yeah, it's... yeah, I think this is going to need some risers for sure. But still got the gangsters over here. And then I've got the goofy villains back in that corner. I wanted to have the Carnage family more together, but with Demo Goblin, being on the glider, it makes it a little difficult. Try to get my core villains back in here. Coming to the front a bit. Some, we got Venom and Kane as 90s villains. We got the more modern Chasm and Hallows Eve with the Electro. Lizard kind of tucked away there. I hate this Vulture figure. We need a new, better old Vulture, not the animated series one. But I like Chameleon being up in the front. He's not really blocking anybody, so I like that. Mysterio, he's kind of in the way, but I don't know. It's not a perfect shelf, but I do like it for the time being. I think among the many shelves that do need a set of risers, this is going to be added to the list. So I think that's where I'm going to end it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this. Hopefully the commentary was at least interesting while you watched, but yeah, it needs some work, but for right now, I'm happy with where it's at. So make sure you stay tuned. I'll have another display update coming up very, very soon. I would say within the next week of this one going up. But yeah, I think with all that, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will talk to you all in another video, another post, another time.